All right, we are 30 minutes into the U.S. trading day on this Wednesday, July 3rd. Here are the top stories we're following. Skydance closes in on Paramount. Skydance Media has reportedly reached a preliminary agreement to buy National Amusements and merge with Paramount. That's after talks between the two collapsed last month. Checking in on the hotel biz with Larry Kukulik. He is the CEO of BWH Hotels, which owns hotel brands such as Best Western. We'll discuss the state of summer travel as well as BWH's expansion plans. And a new show. We're launching Open Interest on Monday, which will be live every day from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern. My co-anchors Matt Miller and Shanali Bassick join me in just a bit with a sneak peek. I'm Katie Greifeld in New York. Welcome to Bloomberg Markets. You take a look at trading at the moment. It certainly looks like the day before a holiday. The S&P 500 not doing much, maybe a little bit higher if you're an optimist. You take a look at big tech, the NASDAQ 100, pretty much unchanged on the day. Meanwhile, you take a look at the bond market. You are seeing a rally there. Of course, 10-year yields currently down about 7 basis points. We are below 440 because even though we do have a holiday this week, we do have a lot of economic data, including some crossing the terminal right now. Let's break it down with Bloomberg's Mike McKee. Well, AAA says that 71 million Americans will be traveling for this 4th of July holiday weekend. And here for a look at summer travel and a broader look at the industry, I'm pleased to say we're joined now by Larry Kukulik. He is BWH Hotels president and CEO. And of course, BWH is the owner behind hotel brands such as Best Western, SureStay, and World Hotels. So, Larry, let's start broad here and talk about the state of summer travel, because clearly Americans want to travel. It seems like we've moved past that narrative of revenge travel. When you look out over the course of the next few months, what do you see?
Well, thank you, and happy 4th of July. Consistent with...
Very robust. It seems like we've shaken off the pandemic and then some, but how do occupancy levels at some of your hotels compare to what we saw in 2019?
Well, thank you. Compared to 2019, we are far above those numbers.
Your pricing going up rather than the volume of people booking growing?
Well, I would say occupancy, again, continues to grow.
When it comes to rates and how high you can raise them, I mean, how close are you to that ceiling? We talk all the time about the trade down that's happening across the industries, how tired the consumer is. How much further do you think you could actually raise prices here?
We're not experiencing trade down. We're experiencing
a lot of cases, but where are we on business travel, for example? Are you seeing that come back?
We absolutely are. We're seeing a 5
internationally as well. You recently highlighted your growth ambitions when it comes to the Middle East. And I'm curious, when you're evaluating new markets to expand into, I mean, how much does geopolitics weigh on your mind and the risks associated there?
Of course, that's one of the...
Larry, we have to leave it there. Really appreciate your time today. Our thanks, of course, to Larry Kukulik of BWH Hotels. Now coming up, when will deal-making return? Ethan Klingsberg of Freshfield. Well, it's time now for our daily Wall Street Week conversation. We're taking a look at changes in corporate strategy. Companies once steadfastly opposed to going public are now embracing the opportunity. And joining us now with more is Ethan Klingsberg. He is Freshfield's head of U.S. corporate and M&A, along with Wall Street Week's David Wested, to uncover the compelling forces driving companies into the public spotlight. And it feels like when it comes to M&A and when it comes to IPOs, we haven't really seen some of the levels that we were getting used to in like 2021.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, it's gone down. So let's start with this going private thing. At one point, it was all the rage. It drove a lot of your business. Is it as active today as it has been in the past?
Well, first of all, there is a decent amount of M&A. Starting about 12, 15 years ago, a lot of activists started saying, I'm investing in public companies. I want you to act like as if you're a private equity portfolio company. Ed Garden from China.
Think about where we are when it comes to the public markets. We're at record highs across all indexes. And what I keep hearing is that it's not a bubble because you aren't seeing the big leveling really at the peak of the markets in 2021. And I hear what you're saying, that there's a lot of private companies out there that don't necessarily feel that pressure to go company things. But what do you think sort of changes the dynamic where we do see more activity come to the public markets?
Well, remember, we had a huge
bad life if you're a private company or an employee in a private company. It's not such a great life for a lot of actually within the private sphere to unlock some of that value back to the limited partners.
Yeah, we hear a lot about how there's, as we talked about last time, there's a lot of pressure being taken off because of secondary markets. So you can have the fund managers borrowing limitations on the upside. But I don't think the debt is...
I'm glad you could make time for us. Our thanks, of course, to Ethan Klingsberg, Freshfield's head of U.S. Corporate and M&A. And David, who else do we have coming up?